Hi, everyone. So thank you for attending this webinar about how our top MBA, like one from HKUST, can support our students to their career in different parts of the world. So tonight, we are honored to have three speakers. So we have Professor Stephen Shih, Associate Dean of HKUST MBA Programs. We also have two alumni here, and they just graduated last year. So Mahesh is currently working in Agoda in Thailand. Agoda is one of the leading travel tech companies in Asia that make searching and booking travel easy for their customers. So for Anmol, he works at Citigroup in Hong Kong now. So as we all know, Citigroup is a leading global bank servicing more than 200 million customers around the world. So it is great to have them tonight to share with us how HKUST MBA students develop their career with good leverage from the program. So Steve will first start to have a chat with them, and he will introduce HKUST MBA program after the chat. And there will be a Q&A section as well to address any questions that you may have. So without further ado, I would like to pass the time to Steve to start.
Thanks, Jay. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you today, and thanks for joining. So I want to just kick off by asking Anmol and Mahesh to briefly introduce yourselves. So Anmol, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Mahesh.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So glad you could join us. I'm Anmol. I did my graduation in my chartered accountancy back in India. I'm a qualified chartered accountant, and that helped me pivot my career in various Big Fours. Especially, I was working with Grant Thornton earlier and then PwC later. So I come from a proper accounting background. And after that, I decided to pursue my MBA because I wanted to divulge my horizons. I wanted to build soft skills as well. I wanted to work globally in an environment cross-functionally. So HKUST was definitely my top choices, and was so glad to be welcomed over there. I came to HKUST, did my MBA, and now I'm finally in Citibank. I'm working as a financial management associate. It's a leadership program within the vertical of finance within Citi. And so we are looking at the entire Asia Pacific region, primarily in the areas of financial planning analysis, controllers, taxation, and treasury. So it's a very diverse program, and I feel like I'm still doing my MBA because it still requires me to build connections, build network, and that's how you kind of move around into this program. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity for me, and HKUST made it possible.
Great, thanks, Anmol. Over to Mahesh. How about yourself?
Thank you, Professor Stephen and Anmol. Hey, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you're from. My name is Mahesh. So I'm from India, and I would classify myself as one of the typical Indian engineer by background. So I did my mechanical engineering from Chennai. So I started off my journey in the professional world in business analytics and data sciences. I started off at a company named Mu Sigma. Worked over there for almost 2 years, continued my horizon in analytics and data science, so moved into a startup. So one thing that I'm pretty proud of from my career so far is that I've been glad enough to work in a startup, which is almost 50-member company, undergo an acquisition, move into a 7,000, 8,000 Fortune 40 company named Lowe's in the US. So good exposure in terms of two different kinds of functioning, in terms of a quick and run through in a startup world, a huge, more formalized and more organized work in a big firm like Lowe's or Mu Sigma. Decided, so analytics, why I decided to do my MBA was analytics so I wanted to continue in the tech sphere, but analytics is just one piece of the puzzle. There are so many other parts of the puzzle, like your marketing, business science, business strategy, negotiation, networking, and so on. So then it made a good sense to do an MBA, and then I wanted to stay in Asia. That was my first criteria, because Asia, the growth in Asia is when you look forward, you know that the needle growth of Asia as a market in China, India, and so many other Southeast Asian nations is just high. So decided to go stay in Asia, apply to one of the top schools in Asia, and I'm was able to go through HKUST. Right now, during my MBA, I did connect with different people, and then Agoda was one of the companies that I was exposed to by an alum, one of the stronger points of HKUST, and then interviewed through the process, moved to Bangkok early this year, started working from India in September 2022, got 4 months, so visa and so on, and now I'm working in Agoda. So I'm working in operations and strategy largely. I still continue to do analytics because Agoda is a very data-driven company, very technology-heavy. So almost pretty much everyone is expected to pretty much know data and work with data. So that's how my past is being useful right now as well. So that's a nutshell. Apart from that, I love football. I love music, not as much as Anmol. Anmol's a great singer, but I join him when he jams. Yeah, that's
That's great. Mahesh, let me stay with you for a bit. And you started to talk a little bit about how you found your way to Agoda through an alum at HKUST. But just back up a bit and just kind of tell us, how did the experience at HKUST shape your thinking about careers? What else did you explore along the way? And how did you end up deciding on Agoda?
For sure. Thank you, Professor, for that question. It's a very introspective question. At the same time, it's fresh out of my mind because we just got done with it. So I think one of the major things about the UST experience is my classmates. Right now, as I said, Anmol being one of them. A great experience in terms of diversity as well. We do have people from different parts of the world, at least exposed to different parts of the world. That's the first part. And second part is people from all kinds of backgrounds that you could think of. We have people from, let's say, tech like me, and data science analytics like me, auditing, finance like Anmol, and a few others. People who are lawyers. We had a couple of lawyers in our class. We had a doctor in our class. I'm not sure if I'm missing out on somebody, but I mean, missing out on a few of these things, but we get the point. So people from different walks of life, were here. And then we were put into a slightly smaller program compared to, let's say, so many of the other MBA programs out there, which is a 2-year program. So 1 year, you get the option to make it flexible as well. So 12 months or 16 months. So overall, the experience with my classmates, the exposure to different courses, certain professors just stand out because of the way in which they handle the course, the depth of knowledge that they have. So all of these did really, give me a lot of perspective. In fact, I was somebody who was pretty, I wouldn't use the word scared, but not very, very well versed with thinking about how financial or like auditing or accountancy, one of the basic subjects that is taught in MBA. And Anmol right here was the one who walked me through a lot of this along with my professors. So yeah, exposure to getting out of your comfort zone. So that's pretty much one of the main things about the UST program. Now coming to Agoda, so one of the other things that happened, especially in Hong Kong or in UST program, is your Alumni Network was able to reach out to different alums across the beauty also is that there are alums across the world. So even in our batch, we have folks. I was fortunate enough to not just be in Hong Kong, maybe diverse. Right now I'm in Bangkok. We have a classmate who's in Dubai, who's working with Monitor Deloitte. So, and then we have obviously classmates like Anmol in Hong Kong and a few other places. So it's diverse. So people from different parts of the world as well. So as I said previously, I was focused on being in tech. Agoda is one of the fastest growing companies, not just in Asia. It's already the leader in terms of travel in Asia. So the goal of Agoda is to expand across the world, which it already is. So it was amazing to start interviewing for Agoda as a company. Amazing interview process, very, very introspective and case heavy. So yeah, the process was amazing. And then right now I'm here. So that's pretty much the journey about how UST as a program helped me get to where I am right now.
Great. And Anmol, how would you describe your journey and ending up at Citi?
I think for me, it was like not just a geographical change, but also a function change. It was a big raise in my pay as well. So I would say that MBA was a fast track to my career, and I would consider it doing an MBA from HKUST as like a 10-year jump in my career, like very easily, because Where I am right now in City, it's a program which is designed especially for MBAs. And they not only consider the technical acumen, but they do prefer students coming on from business schools, especially like HKUST. And HKUST being in Hong Kong, it gives a lot of it gives you a lot of room to explore different. So basically, what happens is Hong Kong has a big business in finance. Like there are a lot of big banks in Hong Kong, and a lot of transactions get routed from Hong Kong in Asia. And we have a lot of investments coming in and through. So that's what HKUST brings into you. HKUST gets you that access to the market. And for me, it was, I would consider the Alumni Network as the top thing in HKUST, because what it helps you with is that once you're in Hong Kong, it becomes very easy for you to reach out to a lot of peers. And if you're part of the HKUST Business School, it gives you that brand image. So I think networking became very easy for me, and that is one thing that HKUST taught me. And that is how I met through the alums. I met through, and I had got to understand better where I would be a better fit. And that is where the peers helped me. Like I was involved in a lot of group projects with students of various cultures and diversity. Like there were Mahesh, and there were students coming in from Europe, and there were from China, Hong Kong, India. So I think that helps you, and you kind of realize your own strengths and weaknesses. And that is the core strength of HKUST.
That's great. I'm going to come back to the alum point that you've both mentioned. But before we go there, I'd be curious just to hear about some of the courses or professors that you had that you that you enjoyed, that you learned a lot from. And Anmol, maybe I'll start with you. Is there one course or professor you'd like to just share a little bit about?
Yeah, I think hands down, HKUST has the best academics. Like I've spoken to a lot of students from different business schools, and they've gone to exchanges as well. I'm still in touch with them right after HKUST. And one thing that everybody has in common is like the academics and the acumen of the professors in HKUST is just top class, especially because they're not just professors, but they're also like industry specialists. They've come out from like big industries. So one course that I would rate as my top one would be Applied M&A, which was taught to us by Christopher Doran, who himself was a strategy manager of a very big spirit company called Diageo. So what I learned about was like M&A in itself can be something which can be very number driven, but what we understood from that course was how it is applied in a more strategic point of view. What is the commercial rationale behind acquisitions? How does it affect the employees? How does it affect the businesses, numbers, everything? So I think Applied M&A as a course in finance was a game changer for me because I got to understand a lot of things. And so that's more on a technical point of view. The other one was negotiation strategy, which was taught to us by Professor Stephen Nason. And the beauty about an MBA program does not lie in the technical skills, but the soft skills that come along with it. And negotiation as it's a skill that you don't just require in your business acumen, but in your life. I think that course in particular was a game changer. If you want to go for an employment, if you want to like do an acquisition, every situation demands a conversation, and then there are strategies to how to prepare even beforehand. So I think the coursework and the way that the whole curriculum was designed around these two courses was definitely one of my favorites.
All right. How about you, Mahesh? Any memorable courses?
For sure. So just piggybacking on what Anmol was saying. So there's this one particular course, it's called Enhancing Professional Skills. So it's called EPS. That is it's an experience is what I would say.
Yeah, it's an experience of a lifetime.
It's a 1 week long course. And it's just that course that happens during that 1 week. So that course covers almost 4 major verticals with 4 of the major professors of UST as well. So as Anmol said, there's Stephen Nason, Professor Stephen Nason carrying out public speaking and how do you go with elevator pitches. That's the first one. Second one, there's this finance handled by Professor Larry Franklin, also one of so one thing that Anmol said does carry along across, which is A lot of these professors have industry experience and then they are professors. So that's really important because they can switch on and switch off in terms of industry knowledge and what works as theory as well. So there's finance, and there's marketing by Joseph Salva Cruz, professor. So again, and strategy by Christopher Doran, as Anmol called out. So why all of these is required is how we did is, we had a case that was given to us, each team, and we had to use all of these specific tools that we learned from these 4 verticals to present to a case. Finally, at the end of the week, what we do is each of the teams, a member of 3 or 4, present the case, and then finally there's a winner for that particular. So an internal case competition sort of, and then there is also an elevator pitch that 1 member per team goes and gives an elevator pitch. Why that pitch is largely with respect to the case that you have chosen. So you have a 60 to 90 seconds pitch that you have to do on the case that you have chosen. So to set the tone. Amazing experience. It's an experience where you, as you say, the MBA comes along with sleepless nights. Well, that is the definition of, let's say, so-called sleepless nights, because you have 1 week to do all of this, and it's an amazing experience. One other thing that I would call out is AI in marketing. A very interesting course by Professor Carlos Pereira. So he runs his own AI company in Hong Kong. An amazing experience where he was able to bring in the theory and the practical knowledge, because he's somebody who runs an AI company like at that point in time right now as well. So he was able to connect to all the latest technology that is of AI used in marketing and bring theory out of it. A beautiful experience in one of the semesters that we had. So yeah, these are definitely 2 different courses that stand out apart from so many of the other ones that we can go on and on about.
Yeah, and you guys both started to mention kind of the impact of these courses, and there's a theory and practice, and learning from the professors with industrial experience as well. You're both at very very great companies, and I know a lot of your peers are very talented, and you're working in high intensity places. Can you think about what are some of the things you learned in the program that are helping you now that you're in the job, right? And now that you're in these demanding roles? Can you think of 1 or 2 things that have helped you to perform more effectively? Anmol, I'll start with you.
Yeah, the first one I would say is the cross-functional. So I think the top skill that employers are looking for today is working with people from different cultures, right? And that is what the HKUST MBA program gave it to me, like to be comfortable and not get lost in translation, to be able to understand the other person. I think that is what makes the difference. I don't think so working is difficult. It's working with people that is the more difficult part. And I think the MBA and HKUST kind of taught me, if I am working in a team project, where do my core strengths and weaknesses lie? I think to position yourself in that team, it's very important to kind of build that output, to get the desired output. So I think working cross-culturally is one of the best things that I got out of HKUST.
Yeah, great.
And it is still very relevant for me in City, because I am still working with so currently I'm working pan-Asia, so I'm working with people from different cultures. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, Mahesh.
Yeah, for sure. So I would just take 10 seconds to just add on to what Anmol said. It's very important that we get exposed to people of different cultures at the same time, different walks of life, largely because let's say in a company like Agoda in Bangkok, where you have people from pretty much all over the place. So my desk has me, an Indian, my manager is British, his manager is American, and then the one who reports to me is from Bangladesh, and then I have a Thai. So this is all in a group of 6 of us sitting. So then we have Thai folks, and then 1 Malaysian. So I don't know how it was set up, but it's just like that. So we all have different ways in which we express ourselves. So it's very important that Anmol said it's not something that should not be considered. It's very, very important that you work cross-functional. But apart from that, I think the overall 360-degree thinking is very important. Not that it wasn't there before working, because I think after you have a little bit of work experience that comes in for you, but then it's just magnified once you go through a program, let's say of HKUST, where you have people who are thinking like this nonstop around you. So you are not just forced to, it becomes your second nature to think from a bigger picture. And it's very important, as simple as if you want an analyst to build a dashboard, it becomes your culture to make even, to think about why are we doing this? So it's very important. And, how are we doing? Who's going to consume it? Why? What business value does it bring? How much can we drive? So all of these, at least if you don't get answers to everything, these are thought. So these are very, very important parts that an MBA program does help you with.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And it's something that, we explicitly try to develop, both the cross-cultural development and the 360 thinking. And one reflection, I had recently had a discussion with one of the executive search consultants from one of the big 5 firms, and they were talking about what they look for in executives. And a few of the things, one is international experience, so living in another country. Another is having that ability to work with diverse cultures, diverse people. And I think HKUST provides both of those. And then the strategic 360 thinking that you mentioned, Mahesh. Let me come to the topic of alumni, which you both mentioned. And I'd be curious if you could just share a little bit more about what did it actually look like for you to reach out, get to know our alumni, maybe describe a bit some of the alumni you met along the way. And if you have any tips for our audience on, when they pursue their MBA journey, how they get the most from tapping into MBA Programs, Alumni Network.
I'll take that one. So what HKUST gives you is a very small class size. So basically what happens is it is easier to reach out to them because being part of a cozy cohort like HKUST, everybody is very supportive of each other. I was able to network with people from the previous batches in HKUST, even before coming to HKUST. And using LinkedIn as a medium, it was so easy to reach out to people. And surprisingly, especially for the alums who were already present in Hong Kong, it was very easy for me to get to meet them for a coffee chat or discuss them. And I was also connecting with people back in India, people back in Europe as well. So even the career coaches in Hong Kong, in HKUST, they kind of help you connect with any source, any references that they have. So I think becoming part of the HKUST really helps you connect with the alumni. And I used to follow a process wherein I used to reach out initially during the first few months of my program, just to find out what kind of roles, industries are there. And then I used to actually maintain an entire Excel, wherein I used to place the date and the person that I met, and I used to keep what kind of pointers can I get out of that conversation? Because you end up meeting so many people during the program, you tend to forget things. So I think networking is something that should be taken very strategically and chronologically. You seed people at first, and then you farm them, and then after a while, when you know where you really want to be, you start reaching out to them again. I think HKUST encourages that culture of networking and getting to know your alums, and it was wonderful to see that all the HKUST alums were very helpful. They used to take time out of their busy schedules to tend to your queries, and they helped you with getting good interviews in good companies, but they also mentored you for those interviews, which is very important. So I think that way, because people here in HKUST do realize the importance of networking and how important it is to get a job.
Great. Mahesh, what would you add to that on our alumni?
For sure. So as Anmol mentioned, LinkedIn has, for all reasons, become extremely important. So first thing would be an advice, maybe largely around what I had reached out. It's also because I probably reached out to many more. So it is okay if you don't get a response. But the point is to keep at it, to persevere. So you don't just reach out to alums, you can also reach out to people from companies that you are interested in. But it shouldn't just be a message like, hi. You have to drop a message wherein you're showing interest, because it's somebody who hasn't met you who is reading your message. So you should take an effort to draft a message or so that makes more sense, that shows your interest and why you are interested and so on. So in terms of alumni as well, so I had done 2 internships while I was at HKUST. The first one was through the HKUST portal, the HKUST Salesforce portal where job openings are put up. So that was at Schneider. Again, alums, you have many alums in Schneider Electric in Hong Kong working. So I mean, the initial days were smooth because it was these alums who came and got me going in terms of how to get used to the company culture and so on. The second one was Methanex. So if you see alum, you have Schneider Electric, which is more sustainable energy and more around electronics and electrical. Then I interned at Methanex, which is a methanol producing company. Not a lot of them would have heard about a theory like that, but an extremely interesting company. They're the industry leaders of methanol. If you now if you go and check the applications of methanol, you'll be amazed to see or read what all methanol is used for. So again, a lot of alums over there, really helpful in terms of looking forward. And they were just not talking about Methanex in general. They were very interactive in terms of making me think, okay, where do you want to go? We have folks who work in this company. We have folks who are working in that company. If you're interested, we can drop in a message. We can get you on board. So different ways in which. So as I said, I landed my job in Agoda through an alum. So is the case with. So one main thing is it's not just the alum. Your classmates are also equally, if not very, very important. So one of our batchmates did land a job in Dubai through one of the classmates helping out in terms of his connection. So it does work. So your classmates are also very, very connected and network heavy. So that's a direct access. So yeah, this is pretty much in terms of how you can leverage your alum. There are people from all over, so you can really use. So if you have an open mind, I think you don't have any limitations in terms of where you want to work. It's just about talking to the right person at the right time, and then opportunities come up.
Yeah, and let me pick up on that point about classmates, right? Because we've talked about how HKUST can help with careers and help you learn how to be more effective on the job after an MBA program, the power of the Alumni Network, and so forth. But a big part of the program is just also getting to know people and enjoying the program, right? It's a unique time in your life to be able to invest in a MBA program. Can you tell us about your experience in terms of the culture of the students at HKUST, what type of students fit in, and any memorable kind of ways you got to know other classmates? Anmol, you want to start?
So, yeah, I think we had a wonderful experience. The dorm experience was definitely something. And then being in a city like Hong Kong, which in itself is a very thriving city, like I think it's a brilliant city to be in. Like there's a lot to do, there's a lot to explore. So we did a lot of things together. Like just an example, like we used to hold cultural events. Like there was a Japanese club who used to like hold Japanese nights. They used to get in like Japanese food and everything. So it's a way of bringing in your own culture to the cohort. We threw a Diwali party, which was a big hit. So I think you cannot undermine the importance of these kind of cultural events that we did back in our cohort, because I think that's the way that we really break ice. And we used to have a lot of networking sessions within our cohort, and we used to take interest in each other's. And also like working together collaboratively in an environment, like staying together. I think you learn most through the peer. The peer learning is the major part that an MBA plays in your life, because 10 different perspectives can come together, and that's when you get the best results. So you do realize the importance of an interaction and just critically brainstorming over any kind of a problem and then just getting through it. So I think problem solving is one thing that HKUST really helped us with.
Great, thanks. Mahesh, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just piggybacking on the last point that Anmol said. So it's very important to know. So one thing about a competitive yet very challenging MBA program like the HKUST one is everybody is knowledgeable, everyone knows what they are into, and everyone's very what's the word? Determined is the right word. Everyone's determined to learn and do well. So when it comes to this point, it's always about knowing so you have teammates that you're working with from different expertise. So we all have a point of view that's extremely strong. So what it helps is knowing where you need to take a step back and understand that, okay, the point of view which is mentioned by one of my other classmates or teammates makes more sense or is the right value. So all of these are things that come in when we work with a very strong class like the UST classmates. So that's something that I learned. I was pretty much always in the assumption that I would have my way of convincing my teammates or classmates on, yeah, that's what I'm thinking is the way to go. But then you hear point of views which you may not have thought of. It makes a lot of difference. It grounds you at the same time and makes you humble. So that's one of the major things about an MBA class group like UST, especially my batch.
Yeah. All right. Now, I know our audience, right? They're kind of in the shoes that you both were in just a few years ago, and you also were on GMAT Club watching these types of show webinars. Let's just share what are some of your advice for people who are looking at MBA programs, applying to MBA programs. What advice would you give to yourself 2 or 3 years ago in this process? Anmol?
I think it's important to ask that question to yourself. Why do you really want to do an MBA? Is it some kind of geographical change? Do you want some geographical access to a different market? Do you just want to do it because you just want to grow or like maybe have that experience? I think your idea of doing an MBA should be clear. I think that's because a lot MBA does help you in your career, but you need to have a little idea of where you want to go after your MBA. Where have you been before your MBA? I think everything, because MBA and all the dots connect. So I think, that is one thing that you should definitely look into. And HKUST is a great school for Hong Kong, and not just Hong Kong, but also Asia. If you're looking to pivot your career in Asia, it is one of the top schools and a very renowned school, and definitely has a very good reputation. It has a program which is just like about a year, right? It is much lesser than other 2-year programs that US has. So there is definitely relatively less cost attached to it. And the return on investment is higher because, of course, like the salaries that you get paid in countries like Hong Kong and Singapore and Thailand, they're very competitive. They're global standards. And then once you do get into MNCs, you can also pivot your career in other geographies like Europe and North America. So it's all about building that ladder. And if you feel that you're in that time in your life where you can risk it for a while, because you definitely need to have a bit of a risk appetite if you want to go. I would say it is not for the weak-hearted. But yeah, I think once you take that decision, I think you should just go with the flow.
Mahesh?
Sure. So I believe that there's a lot of strategic thinking in this. You need to look, so the way, at least I thought about it, and I believe it's a good way to think about is looking forward, let's say X years from now or 5 years from now. If I were to continue what I'm doing right now, where would I be? Do I have opportunities to switch around? If not, if the answer is like a blatant no, then I think it's a very good idea to think about it, because for all reasons, MBA is something that I've read and understood, and MBA is a trump card. You throw that trump card when you really want to, based on the reasons that you have. You want to switch geographies, you want to grow up the ladder, you want to fast track, like how Anmol said, he's fast track like 10 years. That's what he thinks. So, there's a different ways you want to think about your MBA journey. And then one main thing that I would talk about while doing an MBA is knowing, what you want to be. So there's one particular thing that we learned during the program, which is if you have you might want to have multiple, ideas of what you want to do. It is okay that you're focused on one. Okay, I want to get into consulting. I want to get into finance. It's very good to be focused, but there's always good to have a second option or a third option. Why this is important is maybe there is a company, let's say, for example, in my case, that Agoda gives options to do anything around tech that I want. Right now, I'm doing operations and strategy. At any point after a few months, if I want to switch into product or so, that's one strategic thinking. So I came in with a lot of product management in my mind, but there's a particular role that I landed right now does not have product management as 100%. It's almost 20 to 30% of product management, but I do work with products and do. So, but I know that if I would at some point want to make a career switch, within the company, it works. This is possible. So that is also a strategic way to think. Okay, are there companies that exist out there wherein there are all my options do clear? I'm able to move across. So that is one, it's not an advice, but one way of thinking as well. You don't have to just think about the role that you want to. Thinking about companies as well is also a way to go about how you want to decide where you want to be. And I believe the combination of Hong Kong as a location, the strong alumni network, and the exposure that you get makes a HKUST a very, very strong school within Asia.
Great. Thank you, Anmol and Mahesh. Please stay on because we're going to have some time for questions for both of you in just a bit. What I'm going to do now is take everyone through a short overview of our MBA program. And I do see some questions coming in, so I'll answer some of those questions as we go through the presentation. And then certainly in the Q&A session, we can also tackle more of them. So let me start by sharing my screen here. So, what are we about at HKUST MBA program? We're really developing the leaders of tomorrow in Asia for the world. So many of our students, I would say most of our students, come looking to develop their careers in this exciting area of the world, Asia, with lots of growth opportunities. So that's what we're generally seeing. But as Anmol had mentioned, there are quite a few of our alumni who, after spending some time in Asia, decide to relocate to Europe or the US, for example. So we do have alumni throughout the world. So those of you who are listening to this, most of you are thinking about the full-time MBA programs. And I would encourage you just to take a minute to stay in touch with us. So you can subscribe to our e-newsletter by scanning this QR code in the middle. Follow us on social media. We have a lot of things going on campus, different guest speakers, different events, student clubs, and so forth. And if you're interested in our school, following us on those social media channels is a great way to stay up to date. So do subscribe to the e-news or follow us on social media. Now, look, full-time MBA programs, as both Anmol and Mahesh mentioned, are great opportunities to sort of reposition yourself, right? So many times people, after undergraduate, their first job, they may take a job that is a good job and they do well, but they realize after a while that it's not really the right fit for them long-term, and they can do something more different, right? And that's a common theme that we hear among our applicants and our students. So we like to think of this as sort of a game board, right? The game of Go, and how do you really think about what your next move is, right? And you've got a certain set of experiences coming into the MBA program, but the MBA program is this fantastic chance to sort of reset your game board, right? And if you make the right moves, you contact the right alumni, take the right classes, get to know your classmates well, you can really reshape and pivot where you are, either geography, industry, function. And we do have students in our program and alumni who have sort of made that triple jump, right? Geography, industry, and function. So that question for you is really, as you think about MBA programs, what's your next move, right? What are you looking for? And what's most appealing to you? And that's what our program seeks to help you do. How do we do that? Well, we think about preparing people for two types of careers in general: enterprise leadership and finance careers. Two big areas, and we've got two representatives of those directions on this webinar. And we designed the program so you're going to take courses that prepare you for both in the core courses, and then we have flexible core and electives that are about 70% of the credits. And there you can tailor it based on what your interests are. If you want to do more marketing, understanding consumers, management consulting courses, we have those. If you want to do more investment analysis, private equity, and venture capital, we have courses in that too. And you can adjust it based on your interests. You'll see there in the middle of that column on the right, the Enhancing Professional Skills course that Mahesh had mentioned. And that is a flagship elective that we have, which a lot of students take, and it's very memorable, very high impact, very practical. But we're not just trying to prepare you for enterprise leadership or financial leadership courses. We are also trying to make sure that you're at the leading edge of technology and ESG. So we've got a number of courses that really help equip you with technology know-how or ESG know-how. On the tech side, we've got courses related to artificial intelligence. I'm actually pleased to announce that just a couple of days ago, we announced that HKUST's chairman of our court, our council court for the university, is the former EVP of Microsoft who led a lot of their AI research. This is embedded in our university. Cryptocurrency, blockchain, fintech, we've got a lot of leading research in green finance and so forth. And we're doing a lot on ESG, sustainability, responsible leadership, ESG investing. All of those things make sure that you are at the leading edge of business. But it's not just the courses we teach, it's also, as we talked about in the webinar, who teaches them. And we really do have a great set of professors. They come from countries around the world, different backgrounds, leading researchers, as well as people with years of industry experience. So this is something that I'm always pleased when our alumni share about, how great they thought the teaching was in our program, because, look, we're also about networking. We're also about having a great time, but we are also an MBA program that's really about great classes. You're going to learn a lot of practical stuff in our program. So world-class professors. And, for those of you who are interested, it's just getting to know all of your classmates, right? We do keep this to be a compact program, because we believe that if we keep it to a class that really gets to know each other, it forces people from different backgrounds to get to know each other. So, it's just human nature. If you're with 500 people, you kind of tend to hang out with other people who are in marketing, or other people who are in finance, or other people who are in accounting, right? Or people who want to do the same careers in healthcare or tech. We have that, but we also let people of different interests and backgrounds just really bond through the program. And I think that's one of our strengths, the world-class students we bring together, and that diversity in the classroom to get people together. And it's this beyond the classroom stuff that is really valuable, and that we put a lot of emphasis on as well. So it's things like the Japan Club Sushi Night, the Diwali celebration to get to know each other. It's corporate visits. SenseTime is an AI company here in Hong Kong, Food Panda, one of our tech companies. It's also having people like HSBC's chairman, Mr. Peter Wan, coming in, giving a leadership talk to the students and sharing his practical experience. And then all of the student clubs that we have, and not just trying to advance careers, but also social impact and really making sure to be responsible leaders and citizens. So that's some of the beyond the classroom activities that we have. Outside of Hong Kong, we have a 12-month program for people that are, very focused and have a clear transition plan. We also have a 16-month program where students can elect to go on an exchange program during their second year. And we have a fantastic set of partners around the world. Many of our students will take a semester to go study at a place that really fits their career goals, right? So, you go to Europe, go to North America. You can pick a school that, has a specialty in an area you're interested in, like fashion, for example. You can pick a school and go there for a semester, or finance. So lots of different options in the exchange opportunities. Career highlights. I know this is on the minds of a lot of you, and questions like, if you're in automotive today, does it make sense to do an HKUST MBA? If you have 10 years of experience, does it make sense? And it really can. It's hard to answer that without knowing a lot more about an individual background. You can always talk to one of our admissions consultants who are available. So just send us a note and we'll set up that consultation. But Just the highlights, right? Our MBAs go into a variety of industries. You can see the latest breakdown on the left. I will note financial services is actually a very broad category for us, and it spans a lot of different types of roles, everything from banking to investments to professional services and financial services, marketing roles in financial services. So there's a lot of diversity in there. You will see that most of our students are really pursuing careers in Asia. 65% stay in Hong Kong, 92% in Asia, and we have a very strong set of students who are sought after by employers, and you can see that in the employment highlights on the right. So, high percentage of students switching job functions post MBA, a high percentage switching industries. And the latest update for the class of 2022, I'm pleased to say, is that 100% of those seeking employment were employed within 3 months. So I know many of you look at statistics across MBA programs, and 100% is a good number for that. What else about careers? Hong Kong. Questions about Hong Kong. We are back, right? So, it's certainly been a couple of challenging years for Hong Kong, but everything is getting back to normal. It's a terrific city. It continues to be a leading business hub in Asia with a strong connection into mainland China, a leading financial center globally, and an attractive environment for technology and entrepreneurship. Work visa wise, I'd encourage you to take a look at the immigration website for Hong Kong. There's a IANG visa for non-local graduates, 24 months, and 92% of our students stay in Asia after an MBA. How do you reach your career goals? What support do we provide? I am very just proud of our career services team. I really believe that they work very closely with our students, and we have a great set of advisors and corporate relations. You're going to get help on academic advising to make sure that your courses are supporting your career goals. We've got one-to-one career coaching, not just our team, but also a set of external coaches from different industries. We have a mentorship program with alumni that we handpick to try to match with you and your personality and your interests. We've got career advisory, career development workshops. We had a career fair recently. Many companies coming together, so you quickly learn a lot about different industries, and our Alumni Network. Our university has 90,000 alumni. So that is a little bit about reaching your career goals. Where do people go? We talked with an alum from Agoda, we talked with an alum from Citibank today. You'll see that we've got recent graduates at tech companies, finance companies, consulting firms, healthcare, telecom, people pursuing their interests, right? Energy, Art Basel. So it's a great set of places that our graduates have gone to work for in recent years. So just to wrap up a bit, we have a track record of what we really focus on, which is helping students achieve their goals. And we encourage students to aim high and think about really envisioning their impact. So we look at metrics around post-graduation career outcomes, and that's an area that we're very focused on. You may be interested in scholarships and financial aid. We do have a wide set available, and you can learn more about it on our website. We consider applicants, all applicants, for relevant awards. So you don't need to fill out a separate application, but just apply. And then if we see that you qualify for an award, our admissions committee will make that recommendation. So if you're interested, start your application today. We've got a one round coming up March 8th. And we have also recently extended to a round 4, just in recognition of some of the changing economic environment globally. And we know there are some people, with layoffs in different companies and so forth. people making new plans, and we've adapted our timeline and process to enable people in that situation to apply to our school. So you can reach out to us, and we can help walk you through that process. Okay. So questions and answers, we're going to have a bit of time for that. Again, just do take some time to follow our social media channels. You can schedule a chat with students or our admissions team, so interact with us. I'm just going to hit a few of these questions that we've already seen submitted. One, a personal question for me, I guess. Did you enjoy returning to university after spending some time in the corporate world? And yes, I absolutely do. It is a real privilege for me to work with the students at HKUST and to help them with their career goals, and to make sure that this is a great experience for them. A question about our part-time MBA program and the full-time MBA program. So we do have a very strong part-time MBA program, and that is popular with students who they're feeling comfortable with the company that they're working with in Hong Kong. And for them, it's about making sure to get the benefit of the MBA curriculum, meeting the classmates, and using that to accelerate their career. The full-time MBA is very good for people who are looking to change, make some more dramatic changes in their career in a shorter period of time, right? And investing that time in the full-time MBA to make those changes. So that's one of the differences there. Question around Japanese companies recruiting UST students to work in Japan. Yes, we do have interest from Japanese companies in our students to work in Japan. And Japanese students are an important part of our community. And they do consider careers in Japan. They also do consider careers in other parts of Asia or staying in Hong Kong. Let's see, any other questions coming up? Any questions for our applicant, or for anything else that we can answer? Either questions for Anmol or Mahesh. I see a question here about Indian students at HKUST. Indian students are one of our top 3 nationalities, so it's a very important part of our community. What else can we answer for you? Some more questions coming through. Overseas placements, examples of students getting placed. So, it's an interesting question. I mean, what I hear from our applicants and our students is they want to work in Asia. So we've ended up focusing our efforts with helping students on their initial jobs in Asia. But then, as I mentioned, quite a few of our alumni, after gaining some experience in Asia, then they decide to go work in Europe or the Americas. And, I think for many people, making sure to have credible work work in the network in Asia is going to be invaluable, regardless of what other countries you work in later on. And I see, I'm sure Anmol and Mahesh have also thought about this, but I'd be curious, Anmol, you're at Citi, global company, any perspectives on, the place of Asia now for global companies, and what kind of experience would do for you?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of multinational companies in Hong Kong, Singapore, which are like, these countries are, they're always looking out to HKUST to get fresh MBA graduates. And the thing about these MNCs is that they have a lot of good leadership programs, and they have like a lot of different roles which requires business travel, or they will probably rotate you functionally. And once these kind of rotations happen, you're also often given a chance to move around geographically. Now that the economies have opened up, things are becoming much and much better, especially in Hong Kong, because now everything is open. So even in the current path, we're having like a career trek in Singapore. So I think a lot of new things are coming up at HKUST, which will kind of help you pivot more to careers in different countries. And I think, of course, like the most probable chance of pivoting career in Asia is more once you come to HKUST, because it is focused on Asia. But we have a lot of students who, after spending some time in Asia, do definitely move out to Europe and US. So it is very much like a stepping ladder. Yeah.
All right. Got time for a few more questions.
Just to add to that particular question, Professor. So this also brings back that particular point that we had mentioned earlier about it's not just about the role that you want, also the type of company that can help you with that. So you can obviously, if you are somebody who's interested in working, let's say in the West, but you're doing an HKUST MBA, it's a long-term plan. So you can work into, let's say I can talk about Agoda. Again, it's there all over the world. Internal transfer to, if there is an opening and if you have clocked the minimal requirement in terms of period of working in a particular role, you have the option of moving across if you find an option somewhere else in the world that you want to work in. So you can move within the company to different parts of the world. So it's also very important to look at what company that you want to work in to open your options or widen your horizon in terms of achieving different goals.
Yeah, we definitely have alumni around the world. I mean, it's just interesting question though, when I hear it from an MBA applicant, and I would, when we look at all the growth trends in the world, careers in Asia, I think, are going to be the most exciting and dynamic for many MBA students in the future. So, it's really about where are the growth opportunities and where's the opportunity to really be an entrepreneur, to do new things, and to innovate. So, all right. Maybe just to wrap up then, I'll ask Anmol and Mahesh just to sum up for a bit for us, kind of one or two thoughts on what do you think makes HKUST unique, and a couple words that come to mind to describe our program as we wrap up our time.
Yeah, I would start with a beautiful campus. I mean, I think the campus is breathtaking. Like you have the view of the sea, and then there you're on like a mountain. So it's quite beautiful. HKUST is definitely will play a very important role in building the next generation's MBAs, especially in Asia. And I feel like we have the right infrastructure here in HKUST. We have the right talent, we have the right diversity as well as academics. Especially the curriculum is designed in a way that keeps you abreast of the topics or the kind of conversations or the functions in companies which are more future oriented, like AI, green tech, ESG. So I think if you're looking for a career, if you're thinking for a career 10 years ahead, I think HKUST is the place to be.
Awesome.
Mahesh?
And yeah, just to add on, thank you, Anmol. So again, just to wrap up the thoughts that we had, MBA is a very strategic decision that you make for yourself in our lives. It may or may not make sense to do an MBA again. Again, it's very distinct. So when you do it once, it's about deciding what you want, where, and it's very important to decide where you want to do it and what your goal is after that. When it comes to Asia, I don't think we need to think twice because it is definitely one of the top schools in Asia, and you get pretty much everything that you want in terms of the triple switch. We have so many alums and current batchmates who have done the triple switch that's required, that an MBA generally offers. So great prospects, and with with things, touch wood, with things getting back to slightly normal and everything getting better, I believe it's just the curve is just upward moving forward. So the opportunities are endless. And yeah, so if you make a decision for MBA, I think there's so much more to offer for you.
Thank you. And look, some of you may have a question we didn't answer or have a chance to answer today, or a personal question. I will just reiterate, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with our admissions team. You can see the QR code there on the screen. Please just contact us and we can help address any additional questions or questions that we didn't have time to elaborate on during this session. Thank you for joining. It's been our pleasure to share about our program. I do want to especially thank Anmol and Mahesh for taking the time to join us and to share their experiences with all of us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Feels good. Yeah, have a great week.